Hello, and welcome. Today we're diving into some fascinating data from our new report, Balancing AI Usage and Risk in 2025. We're going to explore a challenge that almost every software organization faces: the persistent friction between security and development teams. Why does this gap exist, and what can we do about it? Let's take a look. We still find ourselves stuck in this balancing act between development speed and software risk management. In most organizations, about 60% of them, release software at least daily. But at the same time, 46% of those organizations rely on primarily or even completely manual processes for adding new projects into their security testing queue. Clearly, there is significant room for improvement here. There's a real need to embrace greater, more informed automation. Automation that's controlled by your own standards for risk and compliance. And this need is only growing as AI begins to flood developer pipelines. Now sure, 53% of organizations feel that AppSec tests at least moderately slow down their pipelines. But when we look closer to find the cause of all that friction, we see clear evidence for a solution. It turns out that greater automation in the ways we detect new code, new projects, new dependencies, directly reduces that friction. It follows that greater manual effort only increases it. This probably isn't a surprise for most of us. This has been the trend for years. But when you have security and development teams required to collaborate, perceived pain or inconvenience can really influence priorities. Let's look more closely at that perceived pain. Security professionals skew slightly toward the extremes. 21% feel that AppSec severely slows down the pipeline, while 20% feel that it doesn't slow it down at all. But when we compare this to how development teams see it, their responses reflect a greater overall sensation of being impeded, even if there is a lessened prevalence of the extremes. For example, 54% report moderate or severe slowdowns, with a net of 88% feeling any kind of slowing impact. That's compared to 79% of security professionals who see any slowdown at all. So what contributes to this? Our data implies that one significant factor could be wildly inaccurate security test results. They cause distractions, they take an inordinate amount of time to review, and they impact the overall perception of inefficiency. Digging into this, the results are really incredible. In our visual, the categories representing percentages indicate the portion of AppSec test results that respondents consider to be noise. That's redundant, incorrect, or inaccurate results. So think about this. 6% of organizations consider more than 80% of their security testing results to be noise. Almost a quarter of organizations, 23%, find that more than 60% of their results are just unhelpful noise. So that perceived impediment, is it due to the tools? Are legacy security tools just ill-equipped for modern DevSecOps? Well, of course, using the wrong tool for the job, or even poorly optimizing a well-suited tool, dictates how much noise we might perceive. This leads us to consider the impact on noise perception that operational inefficiencies can bring about. As we can see in the data, those with greater automation indicate, on average, lower percentages of noise in their test results. So this leaves us with a few key questions you should be asking yourselves and your peers. Is your dependence on manual effort making you more keenly aware of each individual misstep, so even moderate noise feels excessive? Or are you able to automate because you have the right tools in the right place, with the proper configurations, therefore leading to better results and less noise? And finally, it's important to explore how over-automating, without the right information driving those processes, can actually hide noisy results that then get passed down to the development teams tasked with fixing them. This highlights the balancing act of informed, integrated, automated security testing baked into the build pipeline and supporting AI-enabled development. This was just a small sample of the insights from our annual report discussing the global state of DevSecOps and the influence of AI in development and application security. For a much more detailed breakdown of this data and recommendations for you and your teams, you can download the full Balancing AI Usage and Risk report or view the on-demand webinar on our website, blackduck.com. Thanks for watching.